What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another video. This week's video is going to be texture top on top. It's gonna kind of look like a comb over without any of the parts or anything like that, but we are texturing the top, trimming it just a little bit, doing a nice mid fade on the side, and also blending in the beard. All together is gonna give this entire haircut a nice look. And here to go ahead and begin the haircut, I went ahead and saturated my client's hair with water, because anytime you're cutting hair with scissors, you want to make sure the hair is nice and wet. That way your comb is gliding through the hair very easily, and also making it easy for your scissors to go ahead and cut. But what I like to do is I like to go ahead and start by combing the hair in the way that I want it to go. And then I always like to go ahead and start with the front. I get my guide, I make sure I pinch as hard as I can. Not as hard as I can because you don't want to hurt your client, but you get the point. Just go ahead and bring the fingers up, stop it where you want it to go, and then just go ahead and create a guideline. And what you want to do is just follow the guideline all the way to the back. And for these type of haircuts, I do like to leave the back a little bit shorter than the front. So as I'm going back, I'm going to go ahead and cut a little bit more than what I did in the front. So yeah, I like to do that because it makes the haircut look like it has a nice shape. Now here I'm just gonna go in, grab little sections at a time, and just do some nice point cutting just to go ahead and give texture to the haircut. And what's good about these hairstyles is the top doesn't really have to be perfect. You want it to be, you really want to just mess it up. Like the more messed up that it is on top, the more texture it is gonna be. I'm not saying go cut holes in your client's hair or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure you get the point.
JP, this shit clean.
Now for these textured haircuts, you want to make sure that the hair is dry before you apply any of the product, because in order for the products to work correctly, the hair has to be dry. And I'm not talking about just towel dry or kind of damp. No, you want to take all the moisture out of the hair before you apply any of the texture powder or the matte product. Now for these haircuts, I do typically use the texture powder, but in this case I did not have any in hand, so I'm using the Pacino's matte product. It's great, it works perfectly fine, and I really like using this product. So I'm gonna just go ahead and grab a nice dime or nickel, whatever you guys want to use, and then just go ahead and just really go into his hair and just try to mess it up even more by giving it direction as well. Now it's time to go ahead and begin the fade, and I love using these trimmers. I don't know about you guys, but these are my favorite trimmers to go ahead and use to go ahead and bald out. No cord, no heaviness, no big bulky clipper, just a nice light trimmer that works perfectly fine. And the blade that I have on this one is a GTX blade. I find that the GTX blade cuts a lot better than what the regular blade that comes with it, because the GTX blade has that deep tooth blade on there where it allows a lot more hair to go through, and all around just makes it a lot smoother to go ahead and remove any of the bulk that you want. So if you guys don't have a good reliable trimmer to go ahead and knock down any of the bulk, I definitely do recommend you guys picking one up. It's worth the investment. It'll just make your life a lot easier.
JP, this shit clean.
Now we're gonna go ahead and go in with the Andis Profoil shaver to go ahead and bald out the side. You can use any shaver you guys want. Everything will work perfectly fine. In my opinion, this Profoil shaver just gets a little bit closer than any of the other brands, so I like to go ahead and use this one, and I feel like it's very, very powerful to use as well. And it doesn't break as much as the wall shaver, so that's one of the reasons why I prefer this shaver over the wall. But other than that, any shaver is fine. Now here I'm switching over to my wall cordless senior, and I'm gonna go ahead and start with the lever all the way open to go ahead and create my first guideline, and I'm gonna be going up about an inch, making sure that I'm flicking up and making sure that the hair is all even on my guideline. And I always get this question all the time on what clipper do I prefer, the cordless senior or the cordless magic clip. And my answer to that is, to me, they're the same thing, to be honest. Especially because like when I'm using both of them, I use the exact same blade on both of them. I use the cordless senior blade on them because I'm not a fan of the stagger tooth blade. I just find that the senior blade cuts a lot better, so I go and put the same blade for both of them. So now here I went back to my trimmer, and this is only to go ahead and help me blend out the bottom line. I don't know if you guys have trouble blending out the bottom line sometimes, but this is a little trick I like to go ahead and use to help me achieve that result. Now I'm going back to my cordless senior, now with the lever all the way closed, and we're going to start to slowly bring up the bottom line to go ahead and try to blend it out. So here I'm just flicking up about 1/4 of an inch up, bringing the bottom line up about halfway, and that's going to be the first step of blending out the bottom line. Now here I'm opening my lever halfway and then still continuing to blend up 1/4 of an inch up and still staying underneath the very top line. That's very, very important because the very top line is the lever all the way open, and since I have the lever halfway right now, it's a lot shorter than the all the way open. So you definitely do not want to touch the top line because you're just going to end up lifting up the line, and you definitely do not want that because that's going to cause you a lot more work. Now here I open the lever all the way, and then I'm just cleaning it up a little bit just in case I did go up a little bit too high with the lever halfway. So I always like to go ahead and open the lever all the way just to go ahead and clean it up. Now here I have my number 1 guard, and with the lever all the way open, I'm going to go ahead and create another guideline by going up another inch. And I know I have multiple techniques that I like to use. This technique is more like for the people that already have been cutting for a little while and are a little bit more experienced, because I find this technique to be a little bit harder. But this technique is going to save you a lot of time, because instead of going straight to the half guard, you're skipping that step and going in with the 1 guard open, and then all you would have to do is just go in with the half guard to go ahead and blend in the bottom line. So now here with my half guard, we're going to go ahead and start to down fade on the bottom line to go ahead and fully remove it. I'm starting with the lever all the way open at first, and then slowly closing the lever each time that I finish the previous step.
JP, this shit clean, 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 clean,
So now for this haircut, I didn't want to use a clipper over comb again, just to go ahead and show you guys multiple haircuts without using any clipper over comb. So here I have my number 3 guard with the lever all the way closed, and we're going to slowly start to remove the bulk right there on the side. And I wanted to go ahead and start with the longer guard and then blend downwards once again. Now here I have my number 2 guard, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the lever all the way open, and then once again slowly start to blend downwards. We're going to go ahead and flick out some more bulk. Now when you're doing any type of haircut, you always want to keep a comb in your other hand at all times. That way you're constantly combing down the hair and making sure that you're taking off the hair that's already cut. That way you're not getting tricked, and you're always keeping a clean canvas at all times. But here I went ahead and attached my number 1.5 guard, and then once again starting with the lever all the way open, starting to blend downwards. And then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and close the lever all the way, and then that should, if we did everything right, fully blend out the bottom line.
JP, this shit clean, 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 clean.
Now the fade looks pretty good already, but I always like to go ahead and make sure that I'm extremely happy with the fade. So I went ahead and attached my number 1 guard again, and by playing with the lever, I'm gonna go in and just clean up any of the imperfections that I see. Now for his lineup, my client does have a cowlick in the front, and I find whenever a client has a cowlick in the front, it's a lot more difficult to go ahead and line them up. So for his hairstyle, he doesn't really need like a super crispy lineup. I'm basically just gonna go in and clean up the edges a little bit without going too far in. That way it all looks kind of natural but also crispy at the same time. Now for the beard, we're going to be using the exact same steps that we did on the fade to go ahead and blend it in right before we go in and line it up. Now here I'm spraying a little bit of hairspray on my client's beard, and that's just so when I go and pick it out and then it dries, it makes it easier for me to go ahead and clean up like the straggling hairs, and it keeps them all in place. Now we're getting to the end of the haircut. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys liked this little transformation. If you guys did, feel free to hit that thumbs up, or if you guys didn't, hit that thumbs down. Leave your comments down in the comment section down below. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. But once again, thank you guys for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.